go.
Here we go. Silver and Blue Huddle is back for another episode, and we got the game back together. So amazing. Expert Corner, Rich Black Man. And we're here to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. And overall, the season may be over, but today is actually a good day on a Tuesday. And I know the Cowboys are not going to be playing in the upcoming playoffs this particular weekend. But again, we are not going to let anybody or anyone steal our joy for today and what happened with the Dallas Cowboys today. We are finally free from Matt Eberflus, the defensive coordinator. He is finally out the door. I'm excited. I know the fellas are excited. That was the one thing that we really was hoping to happen, kind of like yesterday doing Black Monday, as they called it in the NFL. But we the Cowboys, we're America's team. We wanted a whole day to ourselves, so we chose to fire our DC the day after on Black Tuesday. But we're not free of our defensive coordinator, so we are all elated. We can recap the last 3 weeks of the Dallas Cowboys, but we're not going back in the past. We're just looking towards the future, and they're not in the playoffs. Season's over, so we're going to start with the news that we actually heard today, which was the firing of our defensive coordinator. Fellas, how do you feel about that? Let's talk about that as the first topic. Of he's gone and we're free.
Yeah, I'll go real quick just to start it up. Yes. Is that, it is a little bit of a mixed emotion, right? Because I'm like at first I'm like excited. I'm like, yeah, finally. Like, all right. There was a lot of players in the locker room. They weren't really too fond of Eberflus because he played favorites, and I feel like Keith Murray, he kind of gave him a little more leeway. Like, he would make a mistake, but he still kept him on the field. Like, he did play favorites to the guys that were his, but I see what the Cowboys did. They tried to do like, okay, let's bring him in. Like, they try to compare him to a Dan Quinn. Former head coach, let's put you back at DC. Zimmer, former head coach, put you back at DC. Like, I feel like that was the direction that the Cowboys were going. But as a fan, I'm glad he's gone. Not as a person, because I heard he's a great guy, great father, this and that. Not going to take that away from him. But as a fan, I'm glad, man. I mean, look, when it comes to defense, you have to love your coach, right? And I think that's what the Cowboys should look forward to, their next DC. And I know I have my favorites. I know you guys are going to have your favorites too on who should be that next DC. But I think the one key thing from here is that he left. The players in the locker room that did like him, yeah, they hugged him on the way out. But I know there was a lot more that did not hug him on the way out. And I'm glad as a fan that he's gone. Now let's figure it out. Let's get a DC that the players want to play for and not just talk on the sideline about.
Right. That's how you feel.
Yeah. So, Cowboy Nation, I want you guys to listen closely. 2 years ago, we had the number 5 ranked defense in the entire NFL. You put a 5th ranked defense with this offense we had this year, and you have a shot to win the entire thing. Last year, you brought Mike Zimmer in, and you were the 28th ranked defense. One of the worst. You missed the playoffs. Right. This year, you brought Eberflus in. He had a lot of fanfare coming in because he's a defensive mind. He's younger than Mike Zimmer. He blitzes, he runs schemes, he does all this. You had the 30th ranked defense this year. This fire should have happened 8 weeks ago. This defense was not improving. It was not getting better week in and week out. Right. The only reason we were winning is because Dak Prescott in this offense was putting up 35 plus points a game, and they were killing teams on offense, and the defense was just not in the way as much in certain games. You cannot afford to pay a quarterback $60 million and have a defense ranked 25 or worse in the NFL. You just cannot do that. Right. You are wasting. If this defense would have been 12 to 15 in the NFL, and this team makes the playoffs, we're on this podcast today talking about where is Dak Prescott putting his MVP trophy at the house. Right. Because we wasted an MVP type season from our quarterback with a defense that couldn't stop a runny nose. So I understand Rich, you talk about yesterday is Black Monday in the NFL because that's when most people get fired.
Right.
Jerry Jones came out. He's like, I'm going to take 10 to 12 days to think about this. I'm glad he took one day to think about this. And he put out a statement that basically thanked Matt, for what he's done for the Cowboys. This is his second time with the Dallas Cowboys. And I love what So Amazing said, right? There are some guys that loved him. There's a lot of guys in that locker room that are probably glad that he's gone.
Right.
But there is an entire fan base today that is saying, okay, great, Matt Eberflus is gone. But on the flip side of that, where do the Cowboys go now? Because you've now had 2 seasons back to back with just 2 of the worst defensive performances. And I saw a lot of Cowboy fans on social media talking about, well, if you don't let Micah Parsons go and you don't let Trayvon, listen to me. When they were the 28th ranked defense, they had Micah Parsons and they had Trayvon Diggs and they had DeRon Bland and they had all these players and they were the 28th ranked defense. So I don't want to hear that. Your front 4, front 5, front 6, whatever you played up front, that was not the problem with your defense. Quinnen Williams, Kenny Clark, Ezraku, Jadeveon Clowney, Dante Fowler, James Houston, that was not the problem. Odiggy Zua. Those guys weren't the problem. It's the Kenneth Murray Jr.'s, it's the Jack Sanborns, it's the Logan Wilsons, it's the Donovan Wilson. It's that back half of this defense that let you down.
I was going to say that linebacker core that you're even Overshawn because he came in late, right? But even you see me, I love Overshawn. I feel Overshawn needs some good coaching and he'll be fine. But all those other names you mentioned, it looked like they just try to patch up a wound, right? There was no development going on throughout the whole season. None of those guys got better throughout the season.
No.
So there was no development.
Not only didn't get better, but we saw the same the definition of insanity. They kept doing the same thing over and over again. Here's a prime example. They're playing the New York Giants in week 18. And thank goodness the Cowboys were at least smart enough to not win that football game and get a higher draft pick.
Right.
Shout out to the New York Giants for winning a Super Bowl in week 18.
The G-Man.
There was a play, I don't know if y'all caught it, but there's a play in that game where Kenneth Murray walks up to the line and says, run, watch the run. And when the ball is snapped, he immediately runs away from his gap responsibility, and the run goes right through where he's supposed to be.
He runs to a block.
How many plays did we see that from Kenneth Murray Jr.? Now, don't get me wrong. There were parts of Kenneth Murray's career where he was really good at linebacker in Tennessee, and he just kind of fell off. And it's like, I feel like the Dallas Cowboys continue to scoop these linebackers up that are on a decline.
Right.
They did the same thing with Logan Wilson. He got cut from Cincinnati. They didn't want him anymore. The Cowboys pick him up. And listen, I was a victim of this too. I was like, all right, we got a linebacker that knows how to play. Right. He looked horrible the rest of the year. You talked about Overshown. He came back late in the year. I don't think he was 100% healthy, but I felt like they didn't have a choice. They had to bring him back. I do like Overshown with the full off season of getting healthy and getting to training camp.
But Overshown needs, like you said, he needs a training camp. He needs development, and he needs to be used to his skill level. Yeah.
Shamar James played well in spots. He's going to need some more development as well. Yeah. I have no problem letting Matt Eberflus go, but at the other side, what are they going to do, and who do they bring in at the defensive coordinator position to make them better, right? Who is going to come and resurrect this defense? I mean, I know who I want, and I know the names that we've talked about as a group, whether that's Al Harris from Chicago to bring him back, Brian Flores from the Minnesota Vikings. Who else out there do we feel can come in and resurrect this defense with the guys you got in the building? Let's just say, now, obviously, the Cowboys are going to go heavy defense in the draft. Right. But with the guys you got in the building, who do you feel comes in here and helps make this Cowboy defense?
But I think before you answer that, before you ask that question, you have to maybe the next step for the Dallas Cowboys is probably looking at the players and the personnel that they actually have to maybe identify what are some of the strengths and weaknesses of those current players. Like, we obviously know Matt Eberflus loved to play a lot of zone, but before he came in there, we had a lot of man corners. So do we realize that, hey, all these people that we got on this defensive side of the ball play pretty well on in man coverage? So do we go out and get a man coverage DC, or do we reevaluate what is the best approach for these players? Like, do we just go with maybe try to get hybrid players?
I don't think you can. I don't think you can look at it that way, right? Like, it would be really cool if you had a defensive coordinator that was like, all right, I'm like Brian Flores. We'll take him for example. Right. We know Brian Flores. He's gonna bring 2 linebackers down into the A gap. He's gonna either show up and bring those 2 linebackers in a blitz,
he's
or
gonna stunt them out. He's gonna flee with them.
Yeah. There's no disguising. We know what Brian Flores is gonna do. I need a defensive coordinator to walk into the building and say, listen, I'm going to evaluate these 40 guys that play defense for me. Yeah. And this guy here, he's really good in man coverage, but these guys are really good in zone. So we're going to run some hybrid coverages. Okay. We're going to have man-to-man on one side. We're going to run disguise zone on this side. Sometimes we're going to run zone the whole way. Sometimes we're going to run. I need a defensive coordinator that can make adjustments on the fly with the personnel he has in the building. At the end of the day, you cannot look 6 games into the season and say, okay, my scheme is not working, but we're just going to keep running my scheme in hopes these guys get better.
And that was what Eberflus did wrong.
You got to make some adjustments, right? You got to try some different things out. We keep giving up 30-plus points a game. It's not working. Let's figure something else out. I need a defensive coordinator that can make some of those adjustments. And the Cowboys, they were like, well, we're going to put Matt up in the booth. Maybe he can see if the solution is that your defensive coordinator got to go to the booth up top and at AT&T Stadium so he can see better. He can see what your defense is doing. You should have known right then that wasn't the guy. Yeah. But that's why I say, if you were to look at with the guys you got in the building, not adding anybody else, who do you feel can step into this building and really resurrect this defense? Because there are defensive coordinators out there that have changed their style to fit the guys they have in the building. And I'm not asking for a defensive coordinator that's going to come in here and make us a top 5 defense. Right. We don't need that. We just need a defense that is going to get 4 or 5 stops a game, not shoot themselves in the foot, make a team turn the ball over 1 or 2 times a game, and put the ball back into Dak Prescott and this offense's hands to put up 25, 30 points and be successful that way. Right. That's the defensive coordinator I need.
And I think, thinking about the different people out there, and the name that just keeps popping up for me is probably the Brian Flores of the Vikings. And I only say that because we know exactly what's going to be coming with him. We know he's going to, like you mentioned, he's going to do that mid blitz. He's going to come and put pressure on the team every single week. And that's kind of what the Cowboys need, because there's times where we just sit back and sit in our zones and we play not to lose, or we play bend but don't break. I mean, the Miami Dolphins, when he was the head coach of them, they came in pressure. He went to the Vikings, pressure. That's what the Cowboys is kind of lacking, right? And I think Flores definitely switches it up based on his personnel, but the thing that the Cowboys is missing is just bringing pressure, bringing different looks, making teams think a little bit. The Cowboys don't make anybody think. They just sit back in their little zone and stuff. And the games that Matt Eberflus actually switched it up a little bit, where he's playing both zone and man, he was kind of successful that particular game, and we actually won. And we was like, wow, where did this defense come from? Can we continue to switch it up a little bit versus just always playing in cover 2 man? Everybody that they face every week knew that we was in cover 2 man. Like, you don't know that with Brian Flores, and
you weren't afraid of our defense. No, you weren't afraid. Nobody was afraid of our defense this year, and I think that's what I want to add to it. Is like, what do you want as a defensive coordinator, right? Me, I played defense. I know I didn't play at the high level, but I played defense, right? I was a defensive-minded guy. I want to play for somebody that's going to inspire me. The one that's going to be like, yo, I'm going to go out there and make a play. You know, like my coach, my DC, he's putting me in me in positions for me to make a play. Like, he sees something in me. You know what I mean? Like, either I'm a blitzer, or, like you said, hybrid coverages, or like, that's what you want to see first. That's my first wish list, right? Second, on coaches that I want to see, that I see right now that are available, not the ones that are in the playoffs right now, 2 names come to mind, and these are very interesting ones. One, Raheem Morris, the Falcons. I like it. Don't give him head coaching duties. Let Shotty do his thing. And you have Raheem Morris focus solely on defense. I like that one. That's the one I like. Now, remember, there is no salary cap on coaches. So owners can go out there. There's no salary cap, really. So they can go out there. Now, that's one name. Second name, interesting name. Peep this. I know you're probably going to be like, well, if he was so good, then why did the Cardinals fire him, right? The Cardinals fired Jonathan Gannon this week, right? 3 seasons over there, head coach, didn't do nothing, right? But the difference was, and this is what I saw on social media, is when he was leaving the facility, unlike Eberflus, he was getting a lot of love and a lot of tweets from those guys in the locker room saying, yo, man, have a great life, blah, 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 all that stuff, right? So in my mind, I'm like, well, you know what? Maybe he made a connection with some people in that locker room that we don't know because, again, we don't really follow Cardinals football like that, right? But there's one thing he has in common with this division. He coached in this division, defensive coordinator for the Eagles. He won a Super Bowl with that team.
He was the DC of the Eagles at the time?
He was the DC of the Eagles when they won that Super Bowl.
He's disqualified. He can't coach at the Dallas Cowboys.
So I know. That's why I said him second. That's why I said him second.
He can't coach for us. I like the Raheem Morris idea.
I love the Raheem Morris. That's why I did it first.
Right. The Atlanta Falcons were middle of the. I think they were 14 or 15th in defensive
but look at the way he
year.
ended his season. Those last 3-4 games, he fucking balled. He was trying to prove a point.
Okay. At this point, you got to find somebody that's going to come in here and just change the culture of this defense.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
don't say Rex. Everybody's saying Rex.
Heck no. Let's think about this. Let's say the Commanders let Dan Quinn go. Do we take Dan Quinn back?
Do we?
You know Jerry wants to, but he's not going to.
Listen, I would show up at Dan Quinn's house and help him pack if it meant he was coming back to Dallas. Because you had a top-rated defense every year that he was at the Dallas Cowboys.
Right. Yeah.
But
he coached up the run.
I don't think the Commanders hold on. Okay. I like that you say that.
Yeah.
But he's never had a Quinnen Williams, a Kenny Clark, Odigizua, as a rock.
He had no DTs, yes.
He did not have those style players playing in the middle to really help. The Cowboys' run defense got exponentially better when Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark showed up in Dallas.
Right.
Way better. But I don't think the Commanders are going to let him go. I wasn't thinking about Raheem Morris from the Falcons. I didn't think about him.
I like that one.
I looked at some of the coaches that got fired. I would also be fine with a John Harbaugh because he's a defensive type of guy too. But I think
he's a locker room guy. He's a locker room guy. Yeah.
For me, I think Brian Flores and Al Harris are the top 2 candidates for me. But I agree with what So Amazing says. I need a defense coordinator that's going to come in here and rally this defense and turn these guys to where they have teams that fear the Dallas Cowboy defense. Yeah. We have not had that since Dan Quinn left.
But I'm not saying to change everything, right? X, I don't want them to change, clean house. I don't want but that's not what I want as a fan. Don't clean house with get rid of this player, get rid of that player. I want my players only. I don't want that. I want you get hired, you see what you have already. Okay, people leave free agency, whatever the case may be. That's organizational stuff, right? And I know we're gonna get to that part too. But come in, see what you got. Right? Have conversations internally, and then you start hitting that draft. Yeah. What could we pick? What could we get? What could we add that's going to help me on defense? Because I really don't think the offense needs any help.
Well, okay. They're going to
they're perfect.
They're going to need an offensive lineman. They're going to have some offensive. I don't think Steele comes back. They're going to need some help there. What happens at the running back? There's some questions on this offense. George Pickens, are you going to be able to re-sign him? Is he going to want to stay in Dallas? There's some questions on this offense, but I agree. This draft has to be heavy defense and heavy defense early.
Right.
And then hopefully in free agency, you can find some offensive help to kind of shore up some of those positions. Hopefully you keep some of your own free agents in the building. But I agree. This has to be heavy defense. I'm not Jerry Jones. I won't tell you to do your job, but Caleb Downs would be a great fit with this
My
I think Dan
God.
defense
Quinn is
here
actually
for
going to
the
play
Dallas
that game.
Cowboys.
Listen, think about that. You bring in
You
Caleb
have
Downs. You bring in Caleb Downs, and who did he have over with the Falcons? He had Bates, Jesse Bates.
You have draft capital to move up and go get a Caleb Downs. So but again, a lot of this is going to be based on who they can keep, who's in free agency, who they can bring to
First
Dallas.
two picks got to be defense, though.
Right.
Like if it's two defenders, and then the third pick, you get an offensive lineman. I'm cool with that.
I think a lot of this is going to be dependent on what the Cowboys do in free agency. Now, obviously, Jerry Jones has come out and said again, we're going to be all in. We've heard that nonsense before from him. But a lot of this is going to be what they do in the offseason before the draft. And then I agree, no matter what you do in the offseason, those first two picks have to be defense.
Right.
If at least the first two, if not the first three.
Right. So out of the names that you guys mentioned, Raheem, Brian, Dan Quinn, is there anybody else that's like an outsider or a new and upcoming DC that can come in, or maybe even a name that we haven't even like talked about? Because I've seen on social media that they
really
actually
Al
talking
Harris,
about
right?
the guy from Seattle, the defensive. I don't know if he's a defensive coordinator, but he was actually in Dallas before, but he's actually over Seattle right now. I mean, that's the name that I also hear. But there's nobody else outside of the big names that you guys could think that Dallas can hire as DC, or that you look.
I mean, those are the only ones that I could think of right now.
The only ones. Okay.
Unless
I mean, Al Harris being just a position coach is probably one of them.
Right.
I just think people were they'll adapt to him in the locker room wise. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, I like the thought of the Seattle Seahawks guy, but there is a guy. He's a Wisconsin Badger in his heart.
Disqualified.
He's coaching in Denver right now. Jim Leonard. He's the pass game coordinator in Denver. When he was at Wisconsin as their DC/head coach, he had a top-ranked defense in Wisconsin every single year he was there as their DC.
How far back you going? You going back a few years?
Yeah,
I know Wisconsin was pretty tough
a few years ago before they got Luke Fickell. Jim Leonard was an opportunity to be that head coach, and they went and got Luke Fickell. But he's done a great job in Denver as their pass game coordinator. I really feel like I don't know if I want to take a risk on an up-and-comer at this point. I don't know if that's the solution and us trying to build a guy from that. I really feel like we need to go with someone that's been established because, again, watching Joe Milton play for the Dallas Cowboys, you have to capitalize on what you got left with Dak Prescott and what he's got left in the tank before he's gone, or else we're going to be in a situation trying to find that next quarterback. And I don't want to be that. I don't want to be in the Atlanta Falcons situation with Penix or, Jackson Dart situation. I'd like to be with a guy we got established in Dak, and he's only got a couple years left on his contract. So
now, do you see somebody in college right now that we could pick up in the draft that could be a potential sit on the bench, second, third string guy, quarterback?
I mean, I would love to have Arch Manning coming into Dallas, but
I know, right? I'm thinking like 5th, 6th round, like kind of like how like Dak got picked up like real late.
That's so tough. I mean, the Dak Prescotts of the world are a dime, like you diamond in the rough. Right. You're never gonna. It's hard to find that guy. When Dak Prescott got drafted by the Dallas Cowboys, nobody expected Dak Prescott to be who he was.
Yeah, from Mississippi State.
Obviously, Tony Romo was still here. Tony Romo was still putting up great numbers, and then he gets hurt, and Dak Prescott kind of takes the Dallas Cowboys by storm. So I don't want to think about who that replacement is for Dak Prescott. Obviously, I don't think Joe Milton is that guy, but at this point, you got to capitalize on having Dak for the next 2 years with him being healthy, with CeeDee Lamb, with George Pickens, with Ferguson, with this running game.
So do you keep 3 on the depth chart or 2? Because remember, that's a
I,
roster spot. That's the thing,
I
right?
think obviously, you're one injury away from having to play that backup guy. So maybe
Right.
you're starting to look for a guy that can kind of step in and play
You
that
might have to
role.
look
Yeah.
for a third. Yeah.
Well, we still like
Um,
a
Case.
few months away from the draft, so we'll save all that
Yeah.
for
True.
our
True. True.
draft
Yeah.
episodes. So real quick,
We still got available. Who want to keep?
yeah, we still, but even with the release of Eberflus as well. But before that actually happened, we'll talk about it real quick because I know it's a hot topic. Trayvon Diggs being released as well. Any thoughts or any comments you guys want to put out there about Trayvon? I
yeah.
think,
Good luck in Green Bay.
yeah,
Bye.
good luck. I think he was planning that since the Michael Parsons trade. I mean, he's
He's
been
been
hurt since then.
crying. He's been
Yeah.
crying since his best friend got traded to the
Right.
Green Bay Packers. But what's so funny is his first play in the game for Green Bay, he's off 20 yards, gives up a 20-yard gain.
Right.
He plays soft defense. Trayvon has not been the same Trayvon since he got hurt. He
Correct.
just has
Yep.
not been. He has
Yep.
not been the same Trayvon. And when you listen to guys in that building talk about Trayvon that watched the downfall of 7, he did not want to be in Dallas.
No.
And I do not. And listen, the Cowboys have held on to guys that did not want to be there way too long in the past. I'm glad that they finally said, listen, we're just going to cut ties. Look, good luck to you, man. We paid you all that money.
Right.
We appreciate what you did in Dallas. Good luck wherever you land. And he just happened to land in Green Bay. So I wish him all the luck. He's going to get to play a playoff game versus the Bears. Good luck with that. We wish him all the luck, but I'm just glad he's no longer on our football team.
Now, do you also attribute this to also maybe, because I heard other people throw this out as well, like the culture change that's actually occurring in Dallas, and that kind of attribute to getting rid of him as well?
Oh, for sure.
Because you can't have people just defying team rules.
I think Schottenheimer obviously did not have a good first year as a head coach when you look at the record.
Right.
But I do see the changes in the culture in Dallas that Schottenheimer has brought that we did not see in the past with the past couple coaches in Dallas.
Right.
Now, culture will mean absolutely nothing if he's 7-8-1 every single year, or 8-8 or 8-9 or whatever. Culture won't make any difference to me if the culture is great and guys are showing up to meetings and they want to win, if they can't produce on the football field. So he's going to have to make some improvements and get some W's, but definitely the culture change was a part of that. And he even talked about it, we're going to do things a certain way here in Dallas, and I don't care who you are, what your name is. This is how we're going to do it in Dallas, and I like to hear that from a football coach.
And I think also Kenny Clark also kind of maybe alluded to maybe possible locker room issues with certain guys, because at the end of the season, he mentioned that, hey, now it's a time for us to get guys in here who actually wants to play football the right way and be the right teammate. So that was actually good to hear. I've been saying it for a while that maybe it's time for some of that core of the Dallas Cowboys the last couple of years to kind of be phased out a little bit and get some new people in there to where the attitudes are a little bit different. I mean, I love Dak, I love CD, I love Parsons, I love Diggs. But, I mean, they've been together for quite a while without no real results, right? And we all paid them all. We paid Zeke, we paid Dak, Diggs, and Parsons, and all them guys. That was the core of the Dallas Cowboys for the last, 4 to 5 years? And they barely got out of the playoffs. So it's good to see them phasing out a little bit. Obviously they phasing out on bad terms, but hey, you got to get rid of them. You can't keep them around, like you said. So now we got some new guys.
Not all breakups are amicable, right?
Right.
Not every time you broke up with a girl, it didn't always end right. Sometimes she was crying on the front porch, holding on to your pillow, saying she missed you. Sometimes you just gotta cut ties with people and be like, you got to go.
Right.
It's just not working out for us anymore. We're not doing that over here in Dallas anymore. It's time for you to go find something else.
And before we talk about cut and keep, real quick, give your thoughts on the overall performance of the Dallas Cowboys season, because it's officially over. So
trash.
Failure, trash, Mike.
Trash.
One word.
They got a D. If A to F, they got a D.
They got a D. High hopes going into the season. Damn near
D minus, a little bit.
They was almost paper champions coming into the season, because everybody was talking about the offense and how he was going to do that. The offense did what they're supposed to do. A wasted season by Dak Prescott. He had amazing numbers, but overall, the season was a failure. Do you guys also think making the playoffs is a measuring stick for every team? Because I hear a lot of teams just happy to be in the playoffs. Like they don't have no real
No,
expectations to
no.
win
And see,
the big
that's the
game.
culture that has to change for the Dallas Cowboys, right? The culture cannot be, let's just make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, if we're not competing for an NFC championship or a Super Bowl, it's a wasted season. And that's the culture I need the Dallas Cowboys to have. It cannot be, hey, let's just get into the dance. And I know that's a big thing with Bill Parcells when he used to say it, you just need to get into the dance. But he wasn't just a, hey, I'm happy making the playoffs.
Right.
He wanted to win the whole thing every single time. So I think for the Dallas Cowboys, the culture needs to be, hey, we're competing for an NFC championship or a Super Bowl every single year, or we look at that as not a good year for the Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add, Mike?
Nah, I mean, yeah, I'm good.
All right, so obviously we're gonna have a busy offseason. We got to get a new defensive coordinator. Hopefully that happens. What's an appropriate timetable for a new DC?
I think they got to do their due diligence, right? So amazing. It can't be a quick decision because you also got guys that are in the playoffs that you want to interview as well.
Okay.
So it can't be one of those where you just quickly. Now, if you interview some, like let's say you bring Brian Flores in and he floors you at the interview, you don't let him walk. You take that chance and you're like, okay, I think we found our guy. But I also think you got to do your due diligence. You got to bring multiple guys in and start the interview process, and find the right guy. And I think Schottenheimer has to play a role in this, right? This cannot be a Jerry Jones hire. Yes,
Right.
I think Jerry Jones is going to be involved with it, but this has to be a Brian Schottenheimer is talking with this guy. How are you going to fit into my scheme and help me make this team
It's a
successful?
personality thing too, right? Because sometimes for work, right? Because at the end of the day, these are jobs, right? Like it's like going to work with your coworkers. It's like you kind of don't want to, as a boss, you don't want to hire somebody, and then now, okay, oh yeah, this guy's gonna be great to work with you, Mike or X, and then you're like, yeah, I can see why you're hiring him. Okay, he got the degree, he got this, he got that, but our personalities are clashing right now,
Right.
Yeah.
and that's what you don't want because players, like employees, they see that.
Yeah.
If they see that there's a divide, this player, these guys are pro him, these guys are pro him, then it becomes so. So I agree that Shotty needs to have an opinion. Now he's not going to make the decision. I think he needs an opinion though.
Right.
Yep.
I agree. So obviously Dallas Cowboys got a lot of free agents and a lot of personnel decisions that they actually got to make over the next couple of weeks. So we're going to call this section cut or keep. I'm going to throw out some free agents and I'm going to throw some names out there that currently play for the Cowboys, and you guys let us know if we actually going to keep these people or we should just go ahead and like cut them. So the first,
go down the list.
Yeah, the first couple of names is actually going to be unrestricted free agents.
Let's do that.
We can start with like some obvious people. I'll probably maybe stay within the same position group as well. We got Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders at running back. Do we keep them both?
No.
Keep Javonte. Cut with Miles Sanders.
How are we gonna pay Javonte?
I didn't even know Miles was on this team, so he can go. Right. Appreciate you, Miles Sanders. But you have to bring Javonte Williams back.
Yeah.
Right. Is that with a franchise tag or do we work out some sort of extension?
You got to find a way to make a deal work because you got to say that franchise tag for the guy later on this list.
All right. We got George Pickens and Jalen Tolbert and wide receivers.
Speaking of the person on the list, you got to keep that franchise tag for. That guy, George Pickens, he is a Dallas Cowboy next year, no matter what. If you can't work a deal out, you are franchise tagging that guy right there. He's not walking out the building. Now, Jalen Tolbert, you got to let him walk.
You got to let him walk for something, though, because I feel like Flournoy stepped up as the third.
Okay, so the only way Tolbert can come back to this roster is a very, very team-friendly deal because number 19, Ryan Flournoy, made him expendable at that wide receiver position.
Thanks.
George Pickens keep. For me, Jalen Tolbert, let him go.
I agree. Jalen Tolbert, I mean, he had a few splash plays here and there, but Ryan Flournoy came in and just like, this is my job, punk. And he came in and just took it.
I feel like Flournoy, because you got to realize he's not like brand new. He's been on the team for a while.
Oh, for sure.
So he when certain players, you just, okay, You're here, and then I'm better than you now. It's just that's all it was.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
I
how it
think
works.
maybe I don't know. No. Florida came in last season. Jalen Turnbull came in, I think, the season before that, and he was supposed to be
You sure?
working out. He's supposed to been getting better, but he obviously didn't.
I feel like Flournoy was like deep on the depth chart, and then he like went up.
But that's the thing. The kid outworked everybody on that.
Yeah.
There were games he was the best wide receiver on that team.
Facts.
And on a team that has George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb.
Correct. So we let Tolbert walk, and we keeping George Pickens. Obviously, we got to find a way to keep him.
Listen. I'll help donate if it helps keep George Pickens. We cannot let that guy walk.
Nope.
3 got to be on this roster next year.
Absolutely. Offensive side, offensive line, we got Brock Hoffman, Robert Jones, and Akeem.
For me, the only one in that group I'm keeping is Brock Hoffman. I think he's a serviceable lineman when somebody goes down hurt with a chance to fight for a starting position. Robert Jones.
The thing with Hoffman, though, Hoffman might ask for a couple dollars more. Like he ain't gonna do because he knows he's valuable.
He's definitely knows he's valuable, but I think Brock will be a team friendly deal for us because he did not play a bunch this year.
Right. Who's he backing up?
But
who's he back up?
He plays multiple positions.
He can do multiple positions.
Center, guard. He does multiple things. So I think you got to find a way to bring Brock Hoffman back.
We got to keep Brock. Got to keep him. So this next position group is actually pretty deep, and they got some good names on here. So we're going with the edge. We got Dante Fowler, Clowney, Peyton Turner, and Sam Williams. I think I know the 2 that I want to keep.
This is going to shock a lot of people, but the first 2 names you mentioned, Dante Fowler and Jadeveon Clowney, are the 2 guys you got to hold on to.
They got to stay.
I like Sam Williams. Sam Williams can only come back again on an ultra team friendly deal.
Yeah, he can't ask for much.
Peyton Turner, we appreciate your time here in Dallas, but
Turner can go.
I don't even know who Peyton Turner is. Did he even get any type of snaps? Was he on the field at all?
There's a lot of people that are going to watch this video and be like, let me grab my phone and look up Peyton Turner because I don't know who that guy is.
All right. Yep. The next position group, I think we all know this is probably a goner for these 2 people here. We got Kenneth Murray and Jack Sanborn. We ain't spending too much time on that. We are letting them walk.
Can they both go?
Yeah.
Can they both go get cut?
Yeah.
Next position group.
Yeah.
CJ.
Just get them an Uber. Get them an Uber XL. They can ride in the Uber together.
Just go together.
Do they even? They don't even need an Uber. Just no. Get them one of those motorized scooters. Like there you go. Yeah. You're not getting in nobody's Uber, bro. Here we go. All right. Next up, we got CJ Goodwin, Corey, and we got Donovan Wilson. 2 DBs and
Corey
1 safety.
Who? What's the Corey one?
Corey Ballantyne?
Ballantyne
Yeah,
can go. He's more of a special teams guy, but if I had to choose, I want Goodwin more than Ballantyne.
Right. And I know a lot of Cowboy fans love Donovan Wilson and the way he plays.
Wilson can go.
He got to go. To me, the only person on that list is CJ Goodwin, and he's not even playing defense. I just want him for the special teams.
Yeah. Like for real, like he's a gunner.
He's a special teams captain. Yeah, he's a special teams captain. You got to have him back.
So no more Donovan Wilson. What?
No, to me, Donovan Wilson.
I think he spent his time. He spent his time already.
Yeah, he's one of those guys we talked about earlier. Rich Blackman, that you said we got to start phasing some of these guys out.
Yeah.
When you look up phase out Dallas Cowboys, Donovan Wilson's picture pops up. That's the dude that got to get phased.
I wouldn't keep him. I really wouldn't.
So if you had to take a choice, because I think they might have picked between these 2 people, Donovan Wilson or Jordan Lewis, because Jordan Lewis is having a breakout season, right, for the Jaguars. Right?
Yeah, I mean I think Jordan Lewis. Obviously, we missed him on the Cowboys this roster, but
big time.
Yeah, Donovan Wilson got to go.
Donovan Wilson is out of here. So next up, we're moving to the restricted free agents, people that we actually got some sort of power over a little bit. Nothing too spicy a little bit, but we got TJ Bass. Are we working the deal with him, or we?
Yeah, you got to keep TJ. He's another guy that stepped up when we had some offensive line get hurt and played very, very well for us.
Yep.
So Brock Hoffman and TJ Bass have been kind of our emergency offensive lineman, our backup offensive lineman the past several seasons.
Right.
You got to find a way to keep both of those guys. TJ's got to come back.
All right. Then we got 2 DBs that we got rights to: Josh Butler and Reedy Stewart.
So
That's tough. I don't know what to do on that one.
Butler came back this year from injury. He's played okay for us. He's a pretty good guy in the locker room too.
Mhm.
I like Josh Butler, but if either one of those guys don't come back, it's not going to hurt the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Right. Then we got Wanye Thomas, safety.
You love Wanye. X likes Wanye. So I know he's not going to say no. He's not going to say cut.
Give Wanye Thomas the max you can give him. Listen, I love Wanye Thomas. Wanye Thomas has played well defensively for us. Plus, he is a good special teams guy.
Yeah, you got to keep
DJ Goodwin. I love Wanye Thomas. He had some injuries this year, kind of kept him out a little bit.
Yeah,
but I'm a big Wanye Thomas fan. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this last person, I don't know why he hasn't really had an extension or already signed a contract, or Jerry Jones gave him like a few billions underneath the table. Brandon Aubrey.
That's a must keep.
Yeah.
You're crazy.
There's no way. There's no way Brandon Aubrey is not a Dallas Cowboy.
Do we make him the highest paid kicker in the
absolutely.
NFL?
Absolutely.
Let's think
Send
back.
a statement on that one.
Let's think back to Dallas Cowboy kicker that we thought was the greatest Dallas Cowboy kicker ever, and we let him walk out the door at the height of his career in Dan Bailey. I almost lost my mind when we let Dan Bailey walk. You have a even better kicker in Brandon Aubrey. Listen, the first day you can start signing players, he should better have a deal on the table. We, even more so than when we should have signed Micah Parsons, you better sign Brandon Aubrey immediately. And he's already said he wants to stay in Dallas. So
right.
Yeah, because you got to realize some of these players that are on this list right now. I don't go that deep. I don't know like where they live and where they're, so they have a big family, do they have kids, do they not have kids? But some of these names, they might take like team friendly contracts, right? X, because some of them have established roots probably locally. Their kids are going to school there. You know what I mean? Like we don't know. Like I don't know that deep. But some of these guys are going to take friendly, contracts because of a family situation too. So like a guy like Brandon Aubrey, he might actually take less than what we're thinking.
Maybe, but give him whatever.
There's going to be a lot.
He deserves anything.
Yeah.
But
there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to offer Brandon Aubrey whatever he wants.
Yeah.
So the Dallas Cowboys better be smart and pay him what he needs.
And so, lastly, looking at the list and looking at everybody that we actually discussed, there's two people that kind of stand out. And if Jerry Jones came to both of you guys and said, hey, I can only pick one guy. I can only pay one guy out of Clowney or Dante, who would you tell Jerry to keep?
Yeah, see, that's an easy choice for me. You have to bring back Jadeveon Clowney.
Clowney, okay. Now, how do you convince Clowney to take
close?
Well, how do you convince Clowney to take Dallas money versus another team? Because he may feel that, hey, I had a great season. My stock is up.
Again, I think Jadeveon wants to be in Dallas.
Okay. I think he likes it here.
He's the locker room. I think he's one of those locker room leaders that you're going to lean on. Yeah. But I think he's also smart enough to understand he's not going to demand a bunch of money like he's 25, 26 years old. He understands he's at the end of his career. But then I agree, you have to convince him of what you're going to do defensively to be a better team, because he obviously at the end of his career, he'd like to compete for a championship. What are you going to do to help him compete for a championship?
And maybe that's his mindset, right? It's like he might be telling us and telling the media, hey, yeah, I love being here, blah, blah, blah. But in the back of his mind, like, is he settling? Is he like, hey, listen, I'm just like, I'm riding out? Or is it like you said, like, does a team that, let's say like, I'm just throwing a defense out there, like the Broncos, right? They look really good right now, right? Let's say a team like the Broncos, they go to the AFC Championship, and then they lose, right? Or something like that. And then they're looking for an extra pass rusher. And then they say, hey, Clowney, you want to come over here? In his mind, he's going to be like, ooh, like that's a good defense. They got a shot at the title next year. Like, so those are that's a conversation we're talking about, right? It's like, does another team get in his ear? And does Davion, does he just want to hang out and relax like in Dallas and maybe something happen for a championship? Or does he like, man, I just want to win a Super Bowl and be out?
Right.
We don't know.
That's tough. See, that's a tough situation you're going to be in, because he's one of those type of players that has proven he'll go from team to team. And what is his mindset? Does he want to win a championship, or is he comfortable being the locker room leader in a team, getting his 10+ sacks, having a chance to go to the Pro Bowl,
Talk
and
to the
just be
young
comfortable
guys.
in Dallas?
Talk to the young yeah, you know what I mean. Be a cowboy.
You never
we
know.
don't we don't know what that mindset is.
Yeah, obviously they know better than us in that locker room and in that building.
Right.
But out of those two, you got to bring Clown
Dave
back.
Young, yeah.
All right, so we know Jerry Jones listens to the Silver and Blue podcast every week while he's flying around Dallas in his helicopter. So we hope he takes everything that we say serious and pick the people that we actually mentioned, because we know what we're talking about, right? So we know what it really takes to get the Cowboys back to the Super Bowl. Obviously, we got some things that we got to do. Hire a defensive coordinator. We actually got to draft pretty well. We got to sign some new people as well. But before we get out of here, we got to ask the one last question. And obviously, we know Esper is not going to be watching the Super Bowl this year because the Dallas Cowboys are not going to be partaking. But if you had to pick a Super Bowl, who's going to participate in the Super Bowl this year? Like, real quick. We ain't going into detail because it ain't the Cowboys, but let me know who your Super Bowl picks are.
I would love the Super Bowl to be the Chicago Bears versus the New England Patriots.
Yeah, I agree with that. I really do, actually.
I gotta ask, what's the reason for that? Because they new teams.
At the end of the day, as long as it's not the Philadelphia Eagles, I could care less.
Or the Niners, or the
49ers, or the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, I don't care.
Any of those, any other team can win it.
I would say maybe even
give Steelers too. Give Matthew Stafford another Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't want the Steelers.
I'm rooting for either Seahawks, because I mean my boy's the
Seattle can win it. Sure.
Well, my boy, shout out to Justin Hines. He's the D-line coach. Me and him played high school football together, so shout out to him. Like, we're having an NFL job.
All right, Seahawks can win it. I'm rooting for the
Seahawks or Bears, because Bears I'm rooting for because Kyle Monangai, are you? No. And then on the AFC side, only reason why I'm going Patriots is because I look at the camera, wifey and my daughter like the Patriots.
Yeah.
Low key.
There you go.
And that's really it. There's nobody. Well,
it ain't the Cowboys. I don't care who wins on the AFC.
My father likes the Steelers, so maybe a little of that.
Can't be the Steelers.
Maybe
anybody else in the AFC can actually win it. NFC.
Listen, I wouldn't even go mention the Steelers because there's no way they win in the championship. Not with that roster. Come on now, they getting bounced early. Mike, listen. Mike Tomlin makes the playoffs every single year, but he knows that first week of the playoffs, he's done. So he's got his vacation booked on non-refundable flights. So he's not trying to go to week 2 of the playoffs. He's going to be out after week 1. He ain't trying to do all that.
Right. All right.
So he's playing 19 weeks. He's playing 19 weeks, not 20.
Right. From the AFC, I don't really care who wins it. Just not the Steelers, because I don't want them to up another Super Bowl over the Cowboys and reach number 7 while we still at number 5. So AFC, I don't really care. NFC cannot beat anybody but the Eagles, the 49ers, maybe only the Bears, because I got a moderator who's actually a Bears fan and he has become obnoxious all of a sudden, even though the Bears has been sucking the last 10 to 15 years. But yeah, Eagles and 49ers, it can't be those. It cannot. Anybody but them people, okay? If you need somebody.
Bears Patriots Super Bowl sound good though.
Yeah. I mean, I won't be mad at the Rams win it, so I'm cool with that. I'm cool with the Rams.
At the end of the day after the Super Bowl, they're gonna be talking about the Dallas Cowboys anyway.
Exactly.
Regardless,
just get over it.
All right, so Cowboy season over. We got some decisions to make. That's Silver and Blue Huddle. We are still going to be around, maybe just not as often because we had nothing to talk about, but we will still come around, maybe draft time. Maybe if we hire a defensive coordinator here very soon, we'll be back and do a podcast for that. But in the meantime, make sure you guys stay locked in, turn on your notifications. Follow my man, Expert Corner. He's on TikTok. He's also on Twitch as well. Make sure you follow So Amazing. He's also on Facebook. And he's
YouTube.
Finally coming over to YouTube.
So
make sure you guys show both of those guys love. They got way better content than me. So make sure you guys go get those guys a follow and participate and stuff. So Silver and Blue, we will catch you guys in the next upcoming weeks.